Know that my name is Laurel Liefert and I serve as your minister. And if you're here listening and watching, that means that you've done it. You found our website or the Facebook and clicked on the right link that Karen Brock put there. And we are now all together for our third virtual Sunday service. We still are in our learning by mistake phase, so I hope that you will be forgiving if we have some delays or if my voice starts breaking up. But we're doing the best that we can, and I think every week we're getting even better. So I think everybody's got their microphones muted. We will have joys and sorrows a little bit later in the service. And so at that time, you'll be called on and you can unmute your microphone and share your joy or sorrow. So you know how we say that Namaqua is a come as you are congregation? I think that has never been more true, because some of you could be here in your pajamas. I can't maybe see it, but you might have a cat that's sitting on your lap purring, or maybe a dog that is laying faithfully by your side. I didn't bring my coffee this morning, but obviously you can drink coffee or whatever you need to keep yourself refreshed. And so let us begin as we always do. Elizabeth Fraser is our worship associate this Sunday. And so Elizabeth, if you will please read the chalice lighting words, and I'll light the chalice.
As we kindle our chalice flame, we gather together not to acquire wisdom, but to remember it, to peel away the voices that leave us lost, and return again to that wisdom within, which senses and signals when wholeness is near. May that wisdom be found and guide us on our way. Come, let us worship together.
And now if you'll please join me in our congregational affirmation. Keep your microphones muted, but the words are up on the screen. Join me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its call. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth, and to help one another, or to seek the truth in love and to help one another. And so now for our opening song, because we discovered the first Sunday that we did this, no instruments other than flutes really work. And so we're going to do a call and response. So I'll sing a line, and then again, keep your microphones muted, please. But I want to see your mouths moving enthusiastically. So you ready? This is called We Give Thanks. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here and those far away, for the time we share in love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. And you know, when we say all those who are near and far away, I think I see Brad Willenbrock all the way from Beverly, Massachusetts. Woohoo! So in that spirit, let's speed it up. Whoops, mute your mics.
Give me a sense of how you do that. You go to participants.
So somebody's mic isn't muted. Okay, we're gonna do it one more time, but with enthusiasm. 1, 2, 3, but I'm gonna do it a little bit lower. Oh, we give thanks, oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for those gathered here, and those far away, for the time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. All right, and so now we're trying something a little bit different, which is to start by beginning in silence. So settle into your chair or your sofa Let go of any worry you may be carrying in this strange and challenging time. Let's take a moment now to still our busy minds and enter into a silent meditation. And I will begin by sharing a bit of wisdom about the gift of silence and listening, and then I'll ring a bell to start the silence and play a flute to stop it. Hello. A wise old owl lived in an oak. The more she saw, the less she spoke. The less she spoke, the more she heard. Why can't we all be like that wise old bird? Well, now we are going to have a reprisal of a wonderful service called The Treasure of Self-Acceptance, where our children sang a song called I Believe in Me. And so once Sarah gets it queued up, that's going to be our time for all ages today. You gotta love our kids. So now we will take some time for you all to participate. I don't know that joys and sorrows has ever been more important than it is now. I know that I miss you all terribly, and I think that we all miss each other. And so I'd like to begin with a poem by Kathleen McTeague, who's the director of the Unitarian Universalist College of Social Justice. Here in the refuge of this Sabbath home, we move together through the mysteries, the bright surprise of birth and the shadowed questions of death. In our slow walk between the two, we will be wounded and we will be showered with grace, amazing, unending grace. Even in our sorrows, we feel our lives cradled in holiness we cannot comprehend. Into this home and into this time, we bring our hunger for awakening. Into this home and into this time, we bring both our joy and our sorrow. The way that we're going to do this is to try something new, and that is to use the chat feature of Zoom to let Elizabeth know if you'd like to speak. And what she'll do is after you click on the chat box, and then all you have to do is at the bottom where it says type message here, just put your name and she'll know that you want to speak. And I think rather than having a separate section asking for birthdays and anniversaries, if that is your joy, why don't you say that and we will celebrate with you. And as always, if you have a sorrow, please feel held in the comfortable arms and love of this congregation. So when it's your turn to speak, when Elizabeth calls on you, unmute your microphone, and then you'll have a chance to talk.
Curtis, if you'd like to speak to us now.
I'm just really glad to see all of you. It's been rough being at home and not being able to go out and see friends and family, and being able to kind of have a more, interactive way. So it's a joy to see all of you today, and just know we're still all connected with all this going on.
Yeah.
Rainey, if you'd like to speak.
I think you said me, but I wasn't sure.
You did.
We have our oldest daughter in Highlands Ranch who now has COVID-19. She's recovering. She's still home. She's had a couple of rough nights, but she sounded good yesterday and was feeling much better yesterday. She's had it for a couple of weeks. Other family members are still in the house and they're still okay, but we'll wait and see on that one. The other concern we have is, if you saw in the news this morning about the Highlands of Scotland, and lots of people from the UK are converging on the Highlands because it's remote. However, it is remote. They have little health care, and we have a daughter that lives in the Highlands also. So that's another of our concerns. And then I have a third concern in that I have a brother who's living on his sailboat, and he had a little sailing accident this week and lost the tip of his finger. But he's okay, and he's going to recover, and he'll be able to fiddle again. He's a fiddler. But he's down in somewhere in Georgia. He has no idea really where he is. He had to call towboat to come help him because he'd been stranded on a sandbar. And they towed his boat, and somebody else took him to the hospital, and then somebody took him to where his boat is, but he's not exactly sure where it is right now. But he's on it and he's doing fine. But that's our third concern all this week, as well as we plan to move the end of April, as long as everything works the way it's supposed to. So we've had a hectic week.
Susan, if you'd like to speak.
I would. I have a brother who lives in the northeast part of India, near the Chinese border, just down from Gangotri. And they have more or less like a shelter in place all over India. And he is in an ashram with a lot of men. And he tells me not to worry, but I'm worried. They have people who help prepare their food, et cetera, and so forth. So if you would just put him in your thoughts, his name is Chris Montgomery, and he's my one and only brother and sibling. So also would like to share that it's so good to see all your faces. I've missed everybody. I have learned how to Zoom. My computer skills are getting much better. I've done 2 Zoom conferences with friends in the different parts of the country. So I guess that's a blessing anyway. That's it for me.
Karen, if you'd like to speak. Karen, if you'd like to speak.
Sorry, I forgot to unmute. Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you. And also, thanks to Sarah Sirianni and Doug Stewart and Laurel for continuing to find better ways to bring us all together. I am so grateful. Also, my joy is that Colorado has abolished the death penalty. And I'm really, really happy about that. That's something to celebrate in these challenging times. That's all. Thanks.
Francie, if you'd like to speak.
Hi, everyone. I have a couple of joys. One is that Geo has been releasing people from the 40 people were released over 3 days this past week. And I'm very happy that we didn't have to pay thousands of dollars in order to make that happen. My other joy is not only do I get to be with you all this morning for church, but in Marin County in California, I'm going to get to be on with the service for our son Marcus, which starts at 11:30 our time, and is broadcast from his dining room.
Hey, Joseph, would you like to speak?
Thank you. Nice to see everybody again. I do have one good thing to say about being at home. There's no honeydews to take care of. I had built Deborah a new bookshelf for all her, what are those plants? Fairy gardens. So we've got more fairy gardens now. So thank you, everybody. We're happy to see everybody.
Hi, Carol, would you like to say something?
Yeah, hi everyone. It's great to see you.
Carol?
Can you hear me? I just wanted to
Carol Koch's talking.
mention my sister, Tony Varner, is an OR nurse in St. Louis, and they're doing a minimal number of surgeries, just, what's absolutely necessary. So her job some days is to screen people as they come into the buildings to make sure they don't have temperatures. And they have now, I think she said 6 patients in her hospital that have COVID. So if you would keep her in mind, we'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah, would you like to share?
Thanks, Elizabeth. Yes, I just want to share a joy from the Sirianni household that our daughter Elizabeth will be arriving home this afternoon from Thailand. So we'll be happy to have her safe and sound. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Hannah, would you like to share?
Yes. I mean, my arm is better, but that's not my joy. My older son both my sons work in food service, so they don't have any income to speak of at the moment. But they've been estranged for quite a while, and they have connected. And my older son figured out how to use Skype and read a story to my grandson. And that is the hugest, biggest connection that they've had forever. And so hooray. That's it.
That's great. I think Hannah would like to share something.
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yep, we can.
Okay. Yeah, so we just found out a couple of weeks ago that we're gonna have a baby.
Oh,
We're really excited.
11 weeks.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I think that is everyone who wanted to share with us today. So we can move on with this service.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Hi, sorry. I guess I didn't know how to push the right button. So my son is my joy, that he is a doctor. And he is a wonderful, dedicated, compassionate man. He is on the COVID team at St. Joe's in Denver. And I can't even say it out loud. I can't even say it. Whenever I think about it, it just makes me crazy. Me being a nurse and feeling like I influenced him so much to get into medicine. And now he's on the COVID team, and his team has 3 very ill patients in St. Joe's, and they're growing. The numbers are growing all the time. And I know he's going to be okay. In my heart, I do, but mommy stuff. And then I also know that my daughter has been fighting something for 2 weeks where she had body aches and just felt lethargic, and then she was coughing, and then that passed, and then she got a fever, and she's at home. No one can be tested, so no one knows if she's got it or not. But at least both of my kids have wonderful, supportive, significant others with them, taking care of them, listening to them, being with them. And I think this is a really shitty time to be a single woman. That's my other thing. Right, ma'am? It sucks. And so I'm just asking, my son's name is Jesse. If you will keep him in your prayers, I would love it. Thank you so much, everybody.
Could I speak as well?
Sure, go ahead.
This is Barbara. I just wanted to say that if everybody is agreeable, I am offering to collect these joys and sorrows and send them to Laurel for wider distribution, if that's okay.
Laurel, what do you think?
Are you taking notes, Barbara?
Yes, I did take notes.
Excellent. So I think unless anyone tells Barbara or me otherwise, that it will be included in our May Building Beloved Community column. And thank you, Barbara, for doing that. So if we're ready, notice that on the table in back of me, for one thing, we have our chalice. I really wanted us to have a sense of being together in the sanctuary. And there are 2 candles that are lit, representing the joys and sorrows that we send out to the world. And I think we're all probably more aware than ever of all the different parts, all the different communities and countries that are being affected by the pandemic. And last Sunday after the service, it was Karen Brock who took pictures of me and Lauren and Janet singing Comfort Me. And so if you, Sarah, will please cue it up, and the rest of you feel free to sing along.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Dance with me, dance with me, dance with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
And now Elizabeth will share her reflection entitled The Other Half.
It was the first time I would be working in Honduras alone. I was 21. I rode in the back of the pickup truck as we slowly climbed the mountainside on some very windy dirt roads. Eventually we stopped. It was the middle of nowhere. The only thing besides views and vegetation was a path, wide enough for a small vehicle, but the terrain wouldn't allow it. I was told to follow the path, and eventually I would come to a house on my right. That was the beginning of my journey. I climbed uphill, over rocks, and around small boulders for about 20 minutes, and I arrived at the house on the right. The house was sitting in the middle of a circle of bare earth. It was small, made from mud bricks and a thatched roof. When I stepped inside, it was dim, but my eyes quickly adjusted. It was one room. To the right, there was an earthen stove in the corner, then a concave stone surface and stone rolling pin for grinding corn. And in the far right corner, a simple table with a few plastic bowls, plates, and cups, along with 2 or 3 pots. In the middle of the room, there was 3 hammocks, hung next to each other, each spanning the width of the house. To the left, there were 2 twin-sized beds. They weren't like ours. They were made from wooden frames, twine stretched across the top with woven mats in place of a mattress. There were some boxes placed in the corners where the beds met the house. They were mounded with clothes. Those few boxes of clothes and the contents of that house supported 2 adults and 10 children. At that time, and at times, grandparents, cousins, or the wandering American. This is how the other half lives. 1/3 of the world's population still lives on less than $1 a day. 25% don't have electricity. I had seen this poverty before when I had been to Honduras a year and a half earlier for a conference. What happened this time during my 4-month stay was more of an awakening that changed my life forever. Their life was hard. It was a serious struggle. In their struggle, there were a few core values that shaped their life. Being grateful for the roof over their head and the food they ate, their family, their religion. And maybe it's not a value, but the appreciation for small, simple things was beautiful. Like children playing naked in an old tire, even washing clothes in the local stream could be fun. I had valued some of these things before, but experiencing how they were so central to life and the culture it created was an awakening that changed my life forever.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. So now I have a few announcements and an update on our pledge drive, and also an opportunity for you to donate to our virtual collection plate. So in terms of announcements, this week I'm trying for the first time to have some virtual office hours. So they will be Tuesday from 1 to 4 p.m. and Thursday from 9 to noon. If any of you would like to spend some time with me, I'm a good listener, I care about you, and the way that you would reserve time is to email me at revlaurel@namaquauu.org. So revlaurel@namaquauu.org if you'd like to make an appointment to meet sometime Tuesday from 1 to 4 or Thursday from 9 to noon. And then on Thursday at noon will be our second virtual weekly lunch. Last week there were about 11 of us who met, and we didn't really eat so much, but we did have good conversation. People had a chance to get to know each other and to ask questions. And so if you're interested in joining, please email either me or Alice Kane or Nancy Amsler. And the more the merrier. All are welcome to join us from noon to 1 every Thursday from now on until we can get together in person again. And then a new hot off the press announcement is that next Sunday afternoon, which is April 5th, from 1:30 to 3:30, Doug Stewart is offering a 3-hour workshop on transitions. This is based on the book Transitions, Making Sense of Life's Changes, written by William Bridges. And so life is indeed full of changes, and we're sure in the middle of one now. So the workshop will provide a framework for how we can most healthfully move through life's transitions. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to be a member of Namaqua to attend. The information will be on our website and in our weekly email blast. So if you're interested, put it on your calendar next week, 1:30 to 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. So one of the ways that Namaqua walks our talk is that we have a half-plate ministry, and we depend greatly on the pledge drive. So we're right in the middle of a pledge drive, which is basically the most significant source of our operating budget. And in terms of our updates, so far we have pledges of $133,274. So that's great, and I want to thank each and every one of you who already have pledged. We still have 21 pledge units outstanding, and our needs goal, what we need to reach in order to keep things at the level where we are now, is 150,000. So we still have a gap to fill. And then our wants goal, or our dream goal, is more in the range of 150,000. And I think our top priority, if we should get the money, would be for the very first time to actually hire a music director to help us with music at Namaqua. So if any of you haven't pledged yet, or if you just feel like you want to increase how much you gave, you are very welcome to do that. And in a minute, on the screen will appear a give button, because this past week, it was our treasurer, Dick Barton, and our bookkeeper, Clay Benton, and Doug Stewart, our board president, who actually figured out how to do online giving. So there are some silver linings in terms of us getting up to speed on things that we've been wanting to do for a long time. And so if you would like to pledge online or donate to the building fund, or contribute as you would when the plate passes to our half plate ministry, this is the last Sunday that we're collecting for the teaching tree. And so you can either click on the give button once it appears. It will also be in the right-hand corner of our website. So thank you to Karen Brock for doing that. Or of course you can mail it in. And last week I made a pitch for people to mail it in, and Glenda Bell, let me thank you for sending in your collection. So all of you are welcome to do it that way. So there's a way to designate when you click on the button to say it's either going to the pledge, which is your operating fund, half plate ministry, which is the weekly collection plate, or the building fund, because we still owe some money on buying our first home. And Sarah, are you saying something about the button?
I am. I just, I sent it via chat to everyone because the one that I display you can't click on. So
Oh, okay.
everyone look in the chat and the link is right there, quick and handy for you.
So what we'll do is after all of the pledge or all of the collections are added up, half of it will go to the teaching tree, and I always write a card to them. And so I'll requisition a check from Clay and then send it with our thanks to the teaching tree. So please be generous. And again, if you haven't pledged yet, please consider helping to keep our lights on and pay my salary and the Director of Religious Education, Jan and Wright, and all of the programs that we do. So I was thinking that maybe we could do another quick song, which is one that some of you may know. It's "From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live." So I had this idea this morning that before our last 20 minutes, which is my sermon, and then a few things like extinguishing, or our closing song, Extinguishing the Chalice and so forth. I'm a big baseball fan. And if any of you know about the 7th inning stretch, I thought maybe we could do a 7th inning stretch. And if anyone needs to like go to the bathroom or refill your coffee, feel free to do that. And what we do at baseball games is we sing, "Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the," what is it? Anyway, "buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back." So it's root, root, root for the home team. And if they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Oh, okay. So the title of my sermon today is Awakening. Why are we here? At the top of the order of service is a beautiful quote by Victoria Safford. She wrote, "We're here to sing our love of life and one another, to sing awake our joy, which is not the same as happiness, but something even better. That awareness that life is brief and it's a gift, and every day gives glimpses of divinity. Quenching rain, autumn color, baby laughter, honored teachers, good companions, birds at the feeder, tea in the mug." So what is life like when we wake up to this world we live in? A world of both beauty and wonder, and also a world of tragedy and pain. What wakes us up, and then how do we stay woke? Falling in love can wake us up. Oh, yes, it can, and how wonderful that awakening can be. There were bells on a hill, but I never heard them ringing. No, I never heard them at all till there was you. There were birds in the sky, but I never saw them winging. No, I never saw them at all till there was you. Then there was music and wonderful roses, they tell me, and sweet fragrant meadows of dawn and dew. So do any of you know that song? Till There Was You? So people my age and older probably recognize that it's from The Music Man. It's a play that debuted in 1957, way back in the middle of the last century on Broadway. And then in 1962, when I was 12 years old, it came out as a movie with Robert Preston and Shirley Jones, and I loved it. That song, Till There Was You, has been covered by other groups such as the Beatles and Rod Stewart and others. In the play and in the movie, the song is sung by the town's very prim piano teacher and librarian, Marion, Madam Librarian, who found herself unexpectedly, surprisingly, improbably falling in love with the Music Man, with Harold Hill, a con man who posed as a band leader to sell band instruments and uniforms to the naive townsfolk in River City, Iowa. Till There Was You expresses so simply and to me so beautifully the awakening that can happen when a person receives the gift of falling in love. There was love all around, but I never heard it singing. No, I never heard it at all till there was you. Poet John O'Donohue in Namaqua, a book of Celtic wisdom, writes that when love awakens in your life, in the night of your heart, it is like the dawn breaking within you. Where before there was anonymity, now there is intimacy. Where before there was fear, now there is courage. Where before in your life there was awkwardness, now there is a rhythm of grace and gracefulness. Where before you used to be jagged, now you are elegant and in rhythm with yourself. When love awakens in your life, it is like a rebirth, a new beginning. So I hope that every single one of you either already has or will before you die experience the awakening that comes with falling in love. The romantic in me loves the awakening of falling in love, but there are many other kinds of awakening. In last Sunday's service, Janet Gillette, in her reflection, talked about the awakening and wisdom that can come through making mistakes and learning from them. And then Lauren Daly, in her sermon, talked about how the coronavirus pandemic is forcing her into an awakening that she didn't ask for. After what she described as quote unquote, long bad-mouthing virtual relationships and being suspicious of social media. Now that we can't connect physically, Lauren has awakened to the wisdom of connecting across virtual platforms, just like this one. By the way, you can find Janet's reflection and Lauren's sermon and many other of the contents of our worship services on the website. So thank you again to Karen Brock for all the work that you've done on that. So I think this pandemic has the potential to awaken us in many different ways. From the beginning quote, awareness that life is brief and it's a gift, and every day gives glimpses of divinity. This unsettling and sometimes frightening time of a global pandemic can awaken us to how fragile our lives are and to cherish each most amazing day. Some of you know the story of our beloved member Nancy Kane, who recently died after a long and vigilant struggle with her failing health. One day last summer, I visited her at the Medical Center of the Rockies, and she had just emerged from a dark night of the soul. She was eager to share with me her new favorite song, and so she played it on her cell phone And anyone remember the name of it? It's a Great Day to Be Alive by Travis Tritt. So the chorus goes, it's a great day to be alive. I know the sun's still shining. When I close my eyes, there's some hard times in the neighborhood, but why can't every day be just this good? So I know the sun's still shining, even when I close my eyes. Many of you were probably in this sanctuary that Sunday when Nancy returned to church, and our house band, Tim Bob, sang that song to welcome Nancy back. Sometime in the future, when we're able to gather together again in a big group, we'll celebrate Nancy's life. And if I have anything to say, we're going to include that song in the service. It became the theme song of the last months of her life. And as some of us find our lives slowing down, we may have time to do things that we didn't have time to do before, like take long, leisurely walks. Outside, we can wake up anew to notice the beauty and the wonder that surround us here. The glorious sunrises and sunsets of gold and magenta, the snow-capped mountains on the horizon, the patterns of bare tree branches against the sky. And I know there is a profound relationship between waking up to such beauty and being aware of how fragile life is, and of being forced to slow down. You know, Eve Ensler is the American playwright, performer, feminist activist who's best known for her play, The Vagina Monologues. And she wrote about the awakening that she experienced when she was lying in a hospital bed while she had cancer. What I hadn't anticipated was the tree. I was too weak to think or write or call or even watch a movie. All I could do was to stare at the tree, which was the only thing in my view. At first, it annoyed me, and I thought I would go mad from boredom. But after the first days and many hours, I began to see the tree. On Tuesday, I meditated on bark. On Friday, the green leaves shimmering in late afternoon light. All of this was new to me, she wrote. I was raised in America, where all value lies in the future, in the dream, in being productive. There is no present tense in America. There is no value in what is, only in what might be made or exploited from what already exists. Of course, the same was true for me. I had no inherent value. Without work or effort, without making myself into something significant, without proving my worth, I had no right or reason to be here. And the same was true for the tree. Unless the tree would be wood, would be house, would be table, what value was there to tree? So to actually lie in my hospital bed and see tree and enter tree, to find the green life inherent in tree, this was the awakening. Elizabeth's reflection, the other half, about her experience in Honduras, points to yet another kind of awakening, an awakening to our privilege, an awakening which can be painful and yet is so important. Elizabeth's awakening was embodied, still vivid and powerful to her, even after all these years. And her story reminded me of my awakening, which I've shared here, about when I was an intern with the Faithful Fools Street Ministry in the Tenderloin of San Francisco. In 2006, I went on what is called a street retreat, spending a week in the streets without any money, without a BART ticket to go home on the train, experiencing what it was like not to have a home, not to have a place to sleep, with food and water, with a toilet and shower. The members and friends of UU congregations like Namaqua, like us, tend to be well-educated, well-intentioned white people who can afford to live in a home. The entire UU denomination has been continually engaged in a struggle for integrity, to live up to UU principles of the inherent worth and dignity of all people, of being part of the interconnected web of all existence. And while Unitarian Universalism, I believe, has led the way in welcoming LGBTQ, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer people into our faith communities and professional leadership, it and we are still working to be quote unquote woke, meaning alert and consciously aware of racism and social injustice. For most UUs, being woke means being aware of our white privilege, how we are part of a deeply rooted system that we didn't do anything to be part of, but it exists and it protects racial inequality, and good intentions are not enough to disrupt that system. Now, I'm aware that it may seem ill-timed to talk about awaking to privilege right now. I know that we're in the midst of a pandemic that's causing anxiety and fear, illness and even death, and tremendous financial hardship to many people. And it is also a time when most of us in this congregation can shelter in place in our homes, however humble or great. And we can afford to buy groceries. And something that I cherish is that we are part of a community that's like a safety net in our lives. We know that this community has our back. Still, it's a time when we can be awakened and aware of the deep connection between all of us in the world, aware that we belong to the same family of mortal humans with hang-ups and confusions and the delusion that we are separate from one another. And so to end, my wish is that we be woke to the profound truth of our interconnection and all that we share, that we be awakened to our capacity to fall in love, to learn and be willing to change from experience, to want to survive, to appreciate the beauty and wonder of nature, to open our hearts and minds to feel empathy, to be willing and to awaken and face with courage and compassion our own flaws and limitations, however well-intentioned. And so let's end this morning as we begin in gratitude, giving thanks for this precious day. It's a great day to be alive. Our closing song is going to be on a video, and it was something that was recorded many years ago in the East Bay, and the words will appear on our screen. It's actually two songs back to back. The first one is called Circle Round for Freedom, and the second one is Building Bridges. That Circle Round for Freedom, I remember a few years ago, I've sung the song for so many years, but after Henry, our grandson, was born, the second phrase where we have circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children, keep the circle whole. Tears came to my eyes because it's like the children of our children. That means Henry, our child Marcus's child. And I know that many of you also have the wonder of grandchildren, or like falling in love. I hope that someday you'll have someone in your life who's like a grandchild to you and who looks to you as being a grandparent. And so now, Sarah, if you'll cue up the words and then the audio, Circle Round for Freedom and Building Bridges, sing along with your microphone muted.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you, will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, our friends, reach out to voices and reach out to me. With all of our voices and all of our visions, I reach out to voices and reach out to me. With all of our voices and all of our visions, our friends, reach out to voices and reach out to me. With all of our voices and our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Friends, we could make such sweet harmony.
Now, as Elizabeth reads the words, I'll extinguish your chalice and do a benediction. And then after we sing, once again, with the help of a video, our UU Blessing song, we'll try for the first time to have kind of a virtual coffee hour for about 15 minutes. Obviously, you're free to leave, but we will break into rooms of maybe 6 or 8 people and have a chance to respond to a question about today's sermon. And then we'll come back and say farewell and go off into our afternoons as we continue sheltering in place. And so, Elizabeth, if you'll please read the words to extinguishing the chalice.
As we go, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference.
And may we wake up and stay woke to these words of wisdom. They will be familiar to you. It's a blessing that each of you was born, and it matters what you do with your life. What each of us knows about God is a piece of the truth. Let the beauty you love be what you do, and none of us have to do it alone. So let's sing our closing song with our mute buttons on, and then please stay if you're interested in trying out our virtual coffee hour.
It's a blessing you were born.
It's a blessing I was born.
And it matters what you do.
And it matters what I do.
What you know about God.
What I know about God
is a piece of the truth.
Is a piece of the truth.
Let the beauty you love.
Let the beauty I love
be what you do.
Be what I do.
And you don't have to do it alone.
And I don't have to do it alone.
It's a blessing we were born.
It's a blessing we were born.
And it matters what we do.
And it matters what we do.
What we know about God.
What we know about God
is a piece of the truth.
Is a piece of the truth.
Let the beauty we love.
Let the beauty we love
be what we do.
Be what we do.
And we don't have to do it alone.
And we don't have to do it alone.
We don't have to do it alone. We don't have to do it alone. Cha cha cha.
Me too.
So now, Sarah, well, goodbye to those of you, Mim, if you're waving farewell. But those of you who want to stay, Sarah will divide us into breakout rooms and give us a question, consider. And I'm going to try to wander to say hello in each room. And then in about 15 minutes, we'll all join back into this big space and say farewell and hopefully see each other again next